Studies show more and more people have turned to drug and alcohol as a result of the pandemic, but addiction experts warn that casual use can quickly turn into a fatal problem. Here to talk about the dangers of addiction is founder of Rise Again, the Sabrina Best Foundation, Heather Cooper. Welcome, Heather.
Thank you.
First and foremost, Heather, talk to me a little bit about why the addiction issue became personal for you.
So I lost my daughter, Sabrina, in February of 2020 to the disease of addiction. Sabrina had struggled with addiction from the time she was a teenager, and at the age of 19, she was willing to accept treatment. As a mom, I didn't know much about the disease. I didn't really know what was going on, to be quite honest with you. I was sort of blindsided by how far this had gone. And I remember finding myself standing in the driveway asking myself, okay, she's admitted to this. She's in the hospital right now. What do I do? And I called a crisis line because I didn't know what to do, just a 1-800. And the advice I was given was, you know, it would get her out of her environment of sickness. And I said, you know, I'd send her to Alaska if that's what you tell me to do right now. And we agreed upon California.
So you were in Boston at the time?
Yes, I was.
Or a subdivision of Boston?
Mm-hmm. So this crisis line had hooked me up with Desert Palms Recovery out here, and sent Sabrina out that very next day. Flew her out here, and she went in. She did 45 days in the facility. At that point, after 45 days, she entered into Palm Desert Recovery Center's their sober living program with Nikki Spadafino. And Sabrina had the next 4.5 years of her life. She began to live a life of recovery that was beautiful. Sabrina went back, she got her GED, she got her esthetician's license, she opened herself a little shop, and life was really great. Her time going to school and to work and to everything else wonderful in her life, she wasn't attending meetings, and she was moving away from her sober community. She ran 3,000 miles back home to Boston.
Where she probably maybe should have stayed out here?
Absolutely, absolutely. But you know, my point to that is that, you know, recovery is possible and recovery is beautiful, but it, you know, always needs to be the most important thing in your life. When Sabrina came home, it became very easy for her to fall into old habits, old friends, you know, that sort of thing. And, you know, to make a long story short, it eventually took her life. You know, as a mother, it could be very easy to go to a dark place, losing a child. But for me, I chose to reflect on the things that made my daughter so special. And that is how much love she had for everyone else. And when she passed, I started getting a lot of calls, emails, and such from people that wanted to share how Sabrina had impacted their lives.
And with her passing, you took action real quick. I mean, we're sitting here a year later, and your whole life has changed, and basically you've found new purpose as a result of this horrific tragedy.
Yes.
What has the last year been like for you?
So on Mother's Day of 2020, I decided to launch Rise Again, the Sabrina Best Foundation. In my opinion, God took her home for a bigger purpose, but he left me right here to continue her work. We do a host of different things. The core of it is to provide scholarships to women for sober living. So we started with Christmas. That first Christmas was going to be a really difficult one. We provided Christmas gifts. We took the Christmas lists of children whose moms were in treatment, and we filled the Christmas list.
Now, Heather, if anybody out there that's watching is struggling or needs help, can they come to you? Should they visit your site?
Absolutely, absolutely. We have our website set up. It is at shewillriseagain.org, and we answer day and night.
I have a feeling your story, Heather, will impact so many lives. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back.